yes, अगर हमारा शो सक्सेसफुल हो जाता है, जो मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि हो जाएगा, देन आप ये सवाल दोबारा जिंदगी में नहीं पूछेंगे कि इस जॉनरा पे चीजें क्यों नहीं बनती है. The OTT consumption has gone up from last year when COVID started till today. It's just people have, it's suddenly like लोगों को खजाना मिल गया कि they're like, oh my god, ये भी option है, like it's such a big option they have, and there is so much that you can watch. Good stuff यार. It's not like अरे आज तो अभी फ्राइडे पे यही फिल्म लगी है, देखना तो कुछ है ही, जाके देख लेते हैं. You are at home, you can choose, like the world is your oyster, man. आप click the button, क्या चाहिए आपको, you can watch it. So and so much talent has suddenly surfaced, which I think it's a great time here for creators, for actors, for anyone who's here for some good stuff.
Well, I think during the pandemic and during the lockdowns, that was a savior. I feel there are 3 people who made a lot of money during that time, because everybody else wasn't working. One was divorce lawyers, one was shrinks, and one was the OTT platform, because they were really making it.
Hi, Shefali ma'am. Hi, Kirti. Welcome.
Hi.
It's been a day since the trailer is out, and it's a medical thriller, which is not much of an explored genre in Indian cellulite, I must say. And why do you think that has happened? Because we have seen a lot of courtroom dramas, cop dramas, but not much of a something based on a medical thriller or medical genre.
Could you please answer now, because I don't know. No, I'll think of it.
I'm like, honestly, Aishwarya, I don't have an answer to that. I mean, very honestly speaking, because yeah, it's a good point कि हम इसके बारे में क्यों नहीं ज़्यादा दिखाते हैं. But so honestly, I don't have an answer to it. But I think also what happens अपना इंडस्ट्री का जिस तरह से काम होता है. So आप अगर एक चीज के बारे में दिखाते हैं और वो गलती से अगर सक्सेसफुल हो जाता है, तो उसके ऊपर फिर 10 और चीजें बनती हैं, so that's how we kind of function in terms of how things are done here. So yes, I mean, this genre is not really explored much, and I think it's a very interesting genre actually, now that I'm a part of it, now that I've been through it. I think and the theme of our show, the drug trial, is something that I think ज्यादातर लोग ना इसके बारे में जानते हैं, ना उन्होंने सुना है, और अगर कुछ सुना है तो कुछ समझा नहीं है. तो आई थिंक मजा आएगा यार. आई थिंक द पॉइंट इज कि कुछ नया किया जाए, किसी नई चीज के बारे में बात किया जाए, एंड आवर शो क्लियरली डज दैट. एंड यस, अगर हमारा शो सक्सेसफुल हो जाता है, जो मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि हो जाएगा, देन आप ये सवाल दोबारा जिंदगी में नहीं पूछेंगे कि इस जॉनरा पे चीजें क्यों नहीं बनती है.
Also it's a very sensitive topic. So, and it's almost like what we don't know can't hurt us. It's that space. So I think it's I mean, that someone's been brave enough to put it out there.
Right.
And say, okay, this is what it is. But it's not just a medical thriller. It's actually the underbelly of the medical world.
Mm-hmm.
You normally see doctors as saviors, etc., which they are. There's no question. But they also have their personal lives. They also have their own personalities. And that can determine what happens finally, because people's lives depend on that. So I just feel it's a very sensitive topic where a lot of people don't want to venture there. Maybe, because like the first thing I said is, even I don't know the answer to this. But I'm glad that we are doing it.
And in past couple of years, or maybe from sometime we see trailer which give out the lot of stuff, which give out the whole gist of the movie or a series, and there's nothing left for people to explore while watching it. But Human, it gave a lot of glimpses, but I'm still figuring out what you both are playing. Are you both on the pro side or anti side? So if you both could just give out little more about your character without spoiling, I'm sure. But what would you say?
ढूंढते रह जाओगे.
I'm still trying to figure whether I'm on the pro side or the con side. So
Shefali still not figured that out after having.
I've still not figured it
We're
out.
on the same page.
The writing is so complex. We haven't figured it out which side we are on. No, but you know, you're very, very right about that. Trailers, a lot of trailers these days do give away. मतलब ऐसा लगता है कि यार audience को trailer से ही पकड़ लो, मतलब बता दो क्या story है. मतलब ये ना हो कि कुछ समझ ना आया और फिर उसके बाद audience बोलेगी यार समझ नहीं आया, नहीं देखना, whatever. So, and I think also, so I'm glad that the trailer gives glimpses of what, little bit glimpses of what the show is. But I think what's more, but that's the beauty, you know, कि show में इतना कुछ हो रहा है. I am so glad कि आपको ट्रेलर देखने के बाद भी आप में एक क्यूरियोसिटी जागती है, एक इंट्रीग जागता है, लेकिन आपको सच में नहीं पता है कि what is coming. And I am telling you again, not because it's my show, but literally when you move from one scene to another, you don't know what's coming. From one episode to another, you're like, now what? Like there is so much happening in the show. There are so many tracks in the show. There are so many characters. There's so much of layering. कि मतलब आप there's a lot, yeah, and I think उसको समझने के लिए उसको to really grasp it, you have to sit with it and go through the it's an experience. I think Human is an experience that you have to go through, and just that there's lots waiting for you.
Shefali, would you like to add something?
So as far as the character is concerned, Gaurinath is, what is she? I, like very correctly Kirti said, I still haven't been able to grasp who she is. And one thing I know is that I've never met or heard of a person like her. And everyone who was involved in the show said, what is this woman? And it's something I haven't ever done. She's completely like Shefali and Gaurinath have nothing in common, almost. Secondly, she's extremely complicated, not just complex, she's complicated. And, you know, there is a constant, I don't even think there's a fight. There is a conflict and something in sync about her mind, her heart, and what she does. And what she does is unexpected. She took me by surprise all the time. After reading the script 100 times, after working on it, every time I went on set, I didn't know how she was going to be. I really genuinely did. She's unpredictable. So yeah, it was very exciting, totally out of my comfort zone.
And how did you both prep for this role? Because Shefali, you are again playing a doctor in Dr. G. So how do you differentiate between the nuances of the character belonging to the same profession? And Kirti, you mentioned that your sister and brother-in-law both are from the medical profession. So what kind of advice did you take, and how much did you decide to imbibe that on your process?
Yeah. Okay, so Dr. G and Human have nothing in common.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing. When you see shows, for example, if you're seeing police procedural shows, okay, so like I'm watching Fargo, I've watched Fargo, I've watched what is it, Dublin Murders, you've watched Fall, you've watched Broadchurch. They're all police procedures, but that does not make similar shows. So just because I play a doctor in Dr. G, it has nothing to do with Human. Secondly, they are two different people. It is their profession. Yes, you ask me, what is it? Dr. G, I'm a gynecologist, here I'm a neurosurgeon. But that's about it. That does not explain anything about who Gaurinath is or who I am in Dr. G. Also in human, they are full-fledged characters. I'm not saying it's not in Dr. G. I don't want to discuss Dr. G because this is about human. So I'll talk about that when we come to that. But these are complete characters. Yes, being a doctor is an integral part of who she is, but there's way more to her. And I think the same goes for, Kirti. So these are very full-fledged characters, which is incredible. So it's not just about, even the show, it's not just about the medical world or the human drug trials or the underbelly of the medical world. It's also about the complexities of these people's lives, the interpersonal relationships and the conflicts and the, all of it. So just to say, how did I treat it differently? I mean, well, in one, I'm doing a brain surgery, and the other one, I'm delivering a child. Yes. There's not much that I can say about. And as far as why we, sorry.
No, please continue.
So also while we were shooting for it, like there is a sequence where I'm doing a surgery. I think it's in the trailer as well. Obviously, we had a surgeon over there, a neurosurgeon who would tell us what we were doing. Yeah, I'm a neurosurgeon. She's a cardiac surgeon. Did I say something off before? Anyway, so we obviously had a professional, a surgeon over there telling me what to do. You can't just go there and say, okay, let's do some embroidery on a skull, So, yeah.
In my case, what did I do? So that's the point, Aishwarya, that while the profession is that of a doctor, a profession is not what entirely defines you. It's a big part of your life for sure, and it has a big impact on who you are for sure. लेकिन जब मैं तैयारी की बात करती हूँ तो मुझे एक्चुअली ये एक पॉइंट जिसकी मुझे समझ थी, लेकिन ऑफ कोर्स बातों में जब I spoke to my sister and brother-in-law and any other doctor that I met through the process, मेरा सवाल और मेरा जवाब एक ही तरफ पॉइंट करता था, उनका जवाब कि every doctor is different from each other, not because they're only joined by the commonality of their own, of their profession. But what makes one different from another is who they are, like individually. हर एक की एक individuality होती है, right? So वो जो individuality है, वो ढूंढनी, वही ढूंढना process रहता है as an actor. Playing a doctor or a professional in a show or a series or a film or whatever is not as important as you finding out who the person behind the professional is. तो उसी में आपको अगर if she's Shefali is playing a doctor, if I'm playing a doctor, if there are 5 more doctors around us, आपको सब अलग-अलग दिखेंगे because of who we are, right? तो ये जो who Saira is a very internal process. It's something that जिसकी तैयारी वही थी जो मैं हर फिल्म के लिए या हर शो के लिए करती हूँ. When I work on a certain character, when I gather information of all kinds to have a better understanding of my character. And what I did want to correct is the fact that जब हम डॉक्टर्स को देखते हैं, टीचर्स को देखते हैं, लॉयर्स को देखते हैं, और स्पेशली जिस तरह से उनका रिप्रेजेंटेशन होता है हमारे देश में, बहुत क्लीशे से होते हैं. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ क्लीशेज अराउंड इट कि ऐसे ही होते हैं, ऐसे करते हैं. तो मैं उसको ब्रेक करना चाहती थी. एंड दैट्स व्हाई व्हेन आई वाज स्पीकिंग टू डॉक्टर्स इंडिविजुअली, मेरा मकसद यही था कि मैं वो चीजें उनसे लूं जो उनके लिए यूनिक हैं, which are unique to them as a person, and which will be unique to Saira as a person. And of course एक back of the head हमेशा रहता है कि जब एक प्रोफेशन हैवी प्रोजेक्ट आप कर रहे हैं, जहाँ पे प्रोफेशन की भी उतनी ही वैल्यू है जितनी आप एज अ पर्सन अदरवाइज हो, तब आपको एक बैक ऑफ द हेड रहता है कि यार मैं डॉक्टर लग तो रही हूँ ना, मतलब ऐसा तो नहीं है कि मैं जिस तरह से हाथ चला रही हूँ, जिस तरह से मैं कट कर रही हूँ, जिस तरह से मेरी बॉडी लैंग्वेज है, कम से कम एटलीस्ट आई एम गिविंग द नोशन दैट आई एम अ डॉक्टर. तो और बाकी और पहलू हैं सायरा के, जिसके मैंने आई मेट साइकोलॉजिस्ट एंड आई स्पोक टू डिफरेंट पीपल. I spoke to my writers, Ishani and Mozez and Vipul, of course. मैं बहुत बातें करती हूँ, मैं बहुत सवाल पूछती हूँ, because I'm gathering a lot of information, and then I work around with that information.
With this series, Vipul sir is also kind of making his OTT debut in a full-fledged way. It's a compelling thriller. So, Shefali ma'am, you have been directed by Vipul sir around 15 years back or something in work, and now you've been again there. So, how has a working relation, and your spouses, but how has a working relation evolved, and what do you have to say about his way of direction? How has it evolved over the years?
See, I'll tell you, as an actor, I've changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
As an actor, the way I used to work then, it has nothing to do with the way I work now. So, I might have been much simpler then. I really must have been much simpler and easier to work with then, where I just followed my instinct and whatever, and I read the script, etc. Also, when you're doing a show versus a film, it's a completely different ballgame. Because remembering a 2.5-hour trajectory of a character versus remembering a 10-hour trajectory of a person is very different. And human is a really complicated script. It's really complicated. Okay. Vipul has evolved as a director, and which is absolutely necessary with the kind of stuff that is being made today. We are both open to each other as far. It's up to him to decide what he chooses. No, more than suggestions, it's opinions. The same goes for me. And it has nothing to do with human. That is how we both function. We will give opinions. Whenever I get offered something, or I'm excited about something, or there is some work-related something, he would be the first one I would discuss it with. And the same goes for him. Whether it's his other films or whatever, I'd be the first one to read his script, or I'd be the first one to see one of his rough edits. But finally, I mean, you give an opinion, but it finally depends on how people want to take it. To say it was the simplest, well, it's always, it's a very delicate line you need to tread. Because Vipul and me have a comfort level. We can talk to each other the way we want to talk. And it's an understood between us. But when you're with people, you just have to be very, I wouldn't say guarded, because that's not my forte at all. But there is a certain amount of respect. It's not like we don't respect each other. But what we can say very frankly to each other in a closed room, you can't on a set. You just can't, which is something I was pretty good at, huh? Yeah. But yes, I can say one thing, and it's not just got to do with Vipul, it also had to do with Mozez. So every time I said, I want a meeting, and I really, like he said, questions. So they were like, oh God, 2 of these women. I used to come with scripts like this, actually. So I had the first draft, I had the second draft, and 10 episodes, okay? Then I had the latest drafts, then I had another file of my notes. So it used to be like this. So it was a joke. Every time I walked in for my meeting, they'd be like, ab sab cancel karo, ab hum yahi reh rahe hain. And or then people would say, you know what, let's push this show by 3 months or something, because she's going to take 3 months to do this. But on a script level, we worked a lot together. Because I have a lot of questions, I have a lot of thoughts, I have a lot of ideas, and it's very important for directors. I genuinely feel that, yes, we are a mode, we are the face of what they've created, but they've gotten these actors on board because they know this one's going to add something that even I haven't thought of. And to give that freedom, I mean, all today's directors do it. If a director doesn't do it, it's like, what? which world are we in? But it's a collaborative process, and it has been so. We liked each other sometimes, we hated each other sometimes, but then, well, that's life.
And Kirti, how was it being directed by two directors on the same set having, they must, like you said, we hate each other. So obviously directors also have difference of opinion while collaborating and all. So how was your experience working with both of them? And also Shefali ma'am, I mean, I'm sure I saw you being so excited by sharing. Okay.
I mean, yes, of course, Moses and Vipul. I mean, it's not the first time I'm working with two directors. I did the same on criminal justice as well. So मुझे थोड़ी बहुत experience है in terms of कैसे क्या होता है. I think in this particular case, Vipul and Moses are very different people, you know. So their how they go about on a set is very different from each other. But but a good common but a good point was the fact that creatively दोनों they were pretty much on the same pages, at least हमारे सामने. तो पीछे पता नहीं क्या होता था. It might be like you know वो सब चल रहा होगा रूम में, but on set they used to be on the same page. And secondly, एक आई थिंक ऑलमोस्ट एक अनसेड थिंग थी उन दोनों के बीच में कि अगर विपुल शूट कर रहे हैं तो मोजेस वुड बी अराउंड, मोजेस शूट कर रहे हैं तो विपुल वुड बी अराउंड, एंड विपुल वाज आल्सो द प्रोड्यूसर. तो वो थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाता है, व्हिच आई थिंक विपुल इज experienced enough to be like, you know, take a step back and let the other person do their job. So I didn't have my, because creatively there was they were on the same page. Matlab, I think shifting from, it's a matter of a few days, yaar, and then you get used to acha aaj Vipul hai, acha ye. So you have to, this is exactly what it is. While they are different, while they are both directors, they are different people. So आपको सिर्फ डायरेक्टर को नहीं समझना है, आपको डायरेक्टर के पीछे इंसान को भी समझना है, and you have to handle that as well. जैसा कि डायरेक्टर्स के लिए भी होता है. Every actor is very different, you know, and they have to deal with the actor not just as an actor but as a person as well. तो आई थिंक बहुत स्मूथ था यार. मतलब मेरे को तो ऐसा कोई और पता है मुझे क्या लगता है, अगर आपको अपना काम आता है ना तो मतलब then there's nothing much to worry about and everything is kind of a smooth sail. And यहाँ पे मतलब सब अपना अपना काम बहुत अच्छे से जानते हैं. I mean, working with Shefali, it was just about, she's coming in with her homework, I'm coming in with mine, and what are we doing together, you know, to take to make something good out of the script. वही एक गोल रहता था. And I mean, it is, as she said, collaborative. I think that's the new word, which has always been the word for me in terms of filmmaking. It is a collaborative process, but abhi I think uski samajh logon ko aa rahi hai. तो human was truly very collaborative and मजा आया. मजा आया तभी इतना कुछ कर पाए. Otherwise, when you see the show and if it's not something you're enjoying ना, if the space you're not enjoying, ये ऐसे show करने बहुत मुश्किल हो जाते हैं.
So, and also I would like to say, I mean, you just asked me the question about how was it working with Vipul, but like Kirti has worked with two directors, I haven't. But I think they were pretty much in sync as far as the script was concerned. You know, also I never saw them interfere. So they would be there sometimes. Like I don't remember Vipul being always there when Moses shot, or Moses always being there when Vipul shot. They had their jobs, but I'm sure they discussed before, after, or gave each other their point of views. And they're very different people to work with. They're very different people to work with. Like Moses is more expressive, more Vipul is very chilled. He's like, हाँ ठीक है. Like it's rarely you say, अरे भाई अच्छा था खराब था वो तो बताओ. Yeah, if it was bad, I would tell you. I was like, what the, you know. And while Moses would be very expressive, so they're very different kind of people to work with. But I think, like Kirti also said, collaboratively, we were all on the same page. As the same, you know, we were making the same show.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think the show became a bigger picture than anybody individual. And if that works, yeah.
You know, you both are starting the year with a bang with Human in 2022, and going in during the pandemic in the past 18-19 months, people have have been spoiled for choice with a lot of shows and a lot of movies on OTT. You both have also been part of a lot of it. And so how would you say about the whole space in India now, looking back, if you see from the pandemic till now, till human, if I say, how would you say about the OTT space in India overall?
During the pandemic, sorry, Baba, go on.
No, but it's okay. Speak, Baba.
Arey, go na.
I'm saying must say, yaar, matlab in the sense ki you see the way OTT and the OTT consumption has gone up from last year when COVID started till today. It's just people have, it's suddenly like लोगों को खजाना मिल गया कि they're like, oh my god, ये भी option है, like it's such a big option they have, and there is so much that you can watch. Good stuff, yeah. It's not like अरे आज तो अभी Friday पे यही film लगी है, देखना तो कुछ है ही, जाके देख लेते हैं, You are at home, you can choose, like the world is your oyster, man. आप click the button, क्या चाहिए आपको, you can watch it. So and so much talent has suddenly surfaced, which I think it's a great time here for creators, for actors, for anyone who's here for some good stuff.
Well, I think during the pandemic and during the lockdowns, that was a savior. I feel there are 3 people who made a lot of money during that time because everybody else wasn't working. One was divorce lawyers, one was shrinks, and one was the OTT platform because they were really making it. But jokes apart, the OTT has opened our horizons completely. You're exposed to world art and you can watch it when you want. And I don't think it's retracting anywhere soon. Also, unfortunately, with the theaters, not being open, now they've opened, but again in Delhi, they've shut down for whatever time. We don't know what's going to happen with the coming year and, with the cases going on. So, and when you are stuck in the house, what is your window? You can't step out, you can't meet people. What is your window outside? You're just living in your mind with those 5 people in the house. It's crazy. It's insane. And you're just exposed to the world and it's on your platter at your given time, which is great, which is fantastic. And of course, for artists, for any kind of artists, not just actors, directors, some music directors, costume set, you name it, scripts. There is so much you can explore and experiment without having to deal with the burden of a box office collection, which is great.
Well, thank you so much. It was great talking to you both. All the best for Human. Looking forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Aishwarya.